Okay, how much of this stuff still works? Get the dust off the microphone here, or something along those lines. Smog W, as the Twitch crowd would say it. Is there anything going out to the... Yeah, okay. And, of course, this thing, I'm sure the camera is set to automatic. Oh, what do you know? Come on, you can focus through a computer program and things along those lines. What is up, everybody? This is Jay, aka MultimediaJay, coming to you folks in the middle of the night like an idiot. Although there are some, well, middle of the night my time, of about 1:30 in the morning, Geek House time, on Saturday, December 19th, 2020. Exactly as I said that I wouldn't be able to have any more fun until Saturday. That is exactly what happened. And the sad part is, I think a lot of what we've been through this week with the 9-to-5ers and getting clobbered was 100% preventable. Now, lip balm, of course, because we are down to 35% humidity with the winter that is going on and stuff along those lines. All right. Some women can show me how to use this stuff better. I don't know anything about lipstick or anything. I just kind of smear it and hope it works. You know, unless there's dudes that are into cosmetology that could catch me up on a few things here, all you metro types out there, as I understand they're called. That's not the upbringing I have, though, so I'm an idiot when it comes to that stuff. You can always learn more in life. Now, so I think a lot of the nonsense that went on this week was preventable. And as I hinted at in a post I did more recently, I think the best thing for me to learn about at this point is the generation gap between Generation X and Gen Z. Just how much things have changed, essentially, from the older parents to their kids. Because the managers running this warehouse that I'm involved with out here in the middle of the woods where there's not much going on besides transportation-related stuff, and unless you want to work at Walmart or something like that. It's industrial parks and Walmart, so take your pick. And of course, don't forget the whole essential workers thing with the pandemic and everything, and how all the restaurants and whatnot keep shutting down and things like that because there's garbage going on. So this whole thing, we're not here to talk about that. I'm tired enough as it is. And this wouldn't make things any better if I actually did all that. So I think what's going on is the generation gap between Generation X and Gen Z is something I need to learn more about, become more familiar with, and start realizing. But I just have this terrible feeling that the more I dive into this, the more I'm going to realize that these managers, these Gen X managers I'm dealing with, are stuck in the past, and this place has no chance of being able to staff up for a peak season like what we just finished going through ever again. Now, we were supposed to have 2 busy weeks at the beginning of December, and I think we had a bit more than that. But the big issue with this past week was the snowstorm. So here we are, getting clobbered, and, you know, having to announce raises for people that are core, people that are non-core, aka temps, blah, blah, blah. Having to announce all of these things, I don't know if the money's really going to change. You know, I don't know if the money's really going to change anything. It'll be nice to make more money, but I don't know if the money's really going to change anything with what these folks struggle with. So there's an old rule for when something ticks you off called the sundown rule. Don't let the sun go down on your anger. I'm night shift, so I'm basically doing the sunrise rule. I want to get all this stuff off my chest before the sun comes up and be done with it. Bad enough, because of all this nonsense going on, I don't actually get to have a real weekend, just Saturday, a single day off. So, very disgusted on the work-life balance thing, especially the timing of it all. That all of this happened right after I got Twitch affiliate. Yeah. So, first order of business, though, before we get to any discussion about anything, we have some offline subs for the YouTube channel. So we're going to reflash those on the screen and say thanks to every single one of these people for subbing to the YouTube channel. It looks like this is picking up stuff from the last couple of weeks. Darius Coleman, thank you for the sub. Let's see, Mushroom Craft, thank you for the sub. And Greesh73's every day, thank you for the sub. Those things have been... I'm still wondering about this whole thing with Streamlabs versus Stream Elements, because I can only load YouTube or Twitch into OBS. So I don't know if I should really continue with this or some other stuff. There's so many things to talk about, so many things to think about. It's probably going to be a scrambled mess with what I talk about tonight, because I'm exhausted as it is. But title says it all, the wacky week of Multimedia J. This is kind of an afterglow, so to speak. And it's not just for if anybody's up at this wretched hour. I realize I'm pulling a train wreck here, but if people stop by, cool. It's under people and blogs on YouTube and things like that. But let's also not forget, there's also the after the fact crowd that will probably watch this when they get up. We'll make this spin-off video as usual to skip a bunch of extra processing time for stream features that I really don't care if they make it into the stream replay and all that stuff. So where do we even begin with all of this? Well, how about we start with stuff related to the channel? And then we'll vent about the 9to5ers' deficiencies afterwards. So, I got Twitch affiliate. What this means, so Twitch affiliate, whoop-de-doo, 3 concurrent viewers over a 30-day period, get some followers, and get some followers and do enough streaming, blah, 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 blah. I still think, though, that Twitch actually there are unintended consequences to Twitch's emphasis on concurrence. One of them is that I found myself in a situation where it was better to not stream in order to get affiliate. So these people that grind away for Twitch affiliate because it takes them forever to get any concurrence whatsoever, because Twitch has its deficiencies. It's pretty much closer to Daily Motion as a video entertainment platform than Purple YouTube. One of the many things I say over and over again, because what's it going to take to get the message out there these days? But Twitch, the people that grind away for affiliate don't realize that or even partner, they don't realize when it comes to the whole concurrence thing, Twitch's lone unique emphasis on concurrence creates situations where you don't want to stream. Which I'm sure is the last thing you want to hear if you've just gotten into streaming. So you're really into this hobby, you want to do more of it, you want to practice and get better at it, but you can't progress on Twitch if you're not getting concurrence. And so that's one of the issues. The other issue, of course, DMCA-mageddon. I put a lengthy blog entry over on my blog over at multimediajay.wordpress.com. I actually did a lengthy blog entry talking about as a reaction to the town hall meeting that Twitch had. And it's more of the same, really. Lots of peacocking from Twitch. Lots of, look at us, we're doing this. Look at us, we're doing this. And the biggest thing that bothered me was that I've seen this hubris before. I've seen this with Blizzard. This is the exact same hubris that happened with Blizzard and World of Warcraft around the time Warlords of Draenor was becoming a thing. And we saw the game decline and decline and decline as a result of all of this. So we saw the game decline and decline and decline. And just the hubris of, oh, somebody else out there is doing something better than you. Ha, ha, ha. Well, we're going to give you a song and a dance as to why we can't do this. It's not good. It's good. Maybe it's a good idea, but it's not good for our game platform, live streaming site, blah, 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 blah. It's just like I've seen this before. And we know what happened to World of Warcraft as a result of that. It's declined to the point where it's not anywhere near the biggest MMO anymore. These narratives are being spun about what has happened to WoW. There's these narratives that are being spun about what happened to WoW, making excuses for Blizzard's shortcomings. But the truth of the matter is that it was Blizzard's shortcomings that caused all these problems. And now we see Shadowlands, an expansion about player agency, continuing this nonsense by doing half-cooked responses to these good ideas in other games like Guild Wars 2 and ESO. Well, this very same hubris is alive and well at Twitch. I watch this town hall, and I see Emmett Shear looking like he's stoned, and then what's her face's name here? Erin, that's right. Erin, aka Aurelian, just pulling an Adam Sessler. If you've ever seen like extended play, X-Play, etc., one of the problems Adam Sessler has traditionally been known for is he has this big problem with sharing screen time with anybody else. You see him in any kind of segment with a guest, and he'll just talk all over the place, and his guest won't hardly be able to do too much. He's been known for that for a long time. It's probably a bad habit that he doesn't realize he's doing half the time, so it's something he'd really have to focus on in order to get better at. And that's the way things work with this media stuff, is that sometimes you don't know some of your own bad habits until you watch yourself afterwards. But in the case of Aurelian, aka Aaron, she practically, when you're in the frame on the left and your own company's CEO is in the frame on the right, and you're just talking these big grandiose speeches while the CEO looks like he's stoned, Twitch leadership is a real head scratcher these days. I just don't get it. I just don't get it with Twitch. But it's... So anyways, yeah, because of Twitch's deficiencies, mostly with DMCA at this point, and how they're just literally, they'll work on absolutely anything to not address this shortcoming with the platform with nothing even close to Content ID for DMCA. Shoot, because of this, my Twitch channel is going to be incredibly restricted in terms of content. I think now that I've got an affiliate, I can sharpen the axe figuratively once more and go take out even more of the non-gaming content until it's basically retro, Nintendo, and MMO, all stuff that ends in O. I've tossed around the idea of a revision of MultimediaJay radio style that uses the commercial break system that affiliates get for ad breaks, but I'm going to wait until I'm a bit more familiar with streaming as an affiliate and the use of ad breaks properly on Twitch before I even think of something like that. But as it stands, the focus is going to be primarily Play Some Stuff. And by the way, Play Some Stuff isn't even going to be exclusively on Twitch. Any game that I don't think is a good one to stream on Twitch, I'm going to stream on YouTube. Different games for different platforms because, and largely because, Twitch doesn't want to solve this DMCA problem. What they're doing is they're pulling the same crap as Blizzard when Blizzard bragged about features that don't actually, features that close the gap with a superior competitor, like it's something great. And I just predicted while I was watching this thing, somebody at Twitch is going to make a big deal out of, you can delete your clips and VODs. That's not good enough. Have these folks ever thought about the business reasons why Content ID is such a great system on YouTube in terms of representing an alternative for rights holders that doesn't involve DMCA for regulating copyrighted material on a platform? I mentioned the Jake and Bake situation. This was a situation where a guy was out IRL streaming. Somebody drives by blasting a Kanye song, gets picked up, and he gets copyright strike. He gets a copyright strike on Twitch for it. Whereas on YouTube, and we know this because I looked for videos using literally the exact same song, record label monetizes those. There was a video that was a dance cover of that Kanye song that got this guy a copyright strike. It wasn't an accidental loud truck radio going by. It was someone actually literally using the song as the audio for the video. It is straight up, if you rip the audio from the video, you've got yourself an unauthorized copy of the song. It's literally way more of a copyright issue than what happened to Jake and Bake. Monetized with revenue going to the record label. Still available to watch on YouTube. That is the superiority of Content ID versus you can delete your clips and VODs. You break Twitch. And how about that simp thing? You know what? I'm not fooled. Everybody's making a big deal about Twitch banned the use of the word simp. I don't care if Twitch is like the snotty high school principal wagging their finger at you and being completely oblivious to their audience. 50% of Twitch's audience, their own demographics reports indicate this. 50% of Twitch's audience is 18 to 34, young people. About 20% of the audience is teenagers. But a corporate grown-ups in an office environment sexual harassment policy, that is going to work with an audience of 20% teenagers. Many of them probably are so naive, they don't even know that why some of those rules would be written. This is just something straight out of corporate HR. But, you know, some juvenile high school kids watching Fortnite streamers are going to comply with this. But I really don't care what kind of screwball policies Twitch is throwing around. All that matters to me is their deficiencies with DMCA make them not worth doing a lot on. Nobody should be out there trying to be a Twitch streamer anymore. Nobody. Until Twitch fixes this, forget it. It is one of many deficiencies with the platform. Not to mention the overemphasis on live stuff. Live content. You know, like that thing that just changed on YouTube this week. Well, it's technically not just videos anymore. There's videos and streams, community posts, content. I think content is overused too much as a word when talking about this multimedia stuff. Whatever. So, until Twitch decides to actually address the real problems with their pathetic lack of technology, I'm not interested in being anything more than a very restricted game streamer on Twitch for the time being. Even the idea of the radio style show with commercial breaks, running lots of ads, helping Twitch pay its bills with that run ad break button, making it sound just like you're listening to the radio, you know, that kind of thing, it just doesn't appeal to me. So retro Nintendo MMO. We're talking games from Atari, Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Genesis, you know, games from my childhood and adolescence. Games from before 3D gaming was a thing. Well, we did have PlayStation and everything, but from before, licensed soundtracks were a big thing. Unless you count Rock and Roll Racing on Super Nintendo, which I am not going to play on Twitch. I'm waiting for that to be the most ridiculous DMCA that ever happened on Twitch. Is someone getting DMCA'd because Rock and Roll Racing on the Super Nintendo is classic rock midis. That's what the soundtrack is. Classic rock midis. So, boy, would that be hilarious if someone got a DMCA strike on Twitch for playing Rock and Roll Racing on the Super Nintendo. I don't know if it's going to match any RIAA systems unless they run that badly. But, record companies have gone after midis before because you're playing the sheet music. So that's something you'd also need a license for. If not the record companies, then definitely rights holder organizations, because there have been parody artists on YouTube that wrote their own lyrics to existing songs, and the rights holders still gave them a hard time because they were playing the sheet music, essentially. You could extract the sheet music from it. So, different discussion. But that's the thing. So, yeah, I got Twitch affiliate. Whoop-de-doo. I think Twitch affiliate is going to turn out to be worse than YouTube partner in terms of money. Here's why. Twitch has next to no value attached to watching VODs. The emphasis is so heavily focused on live that after the fact is a distant second place experience on there. Now, it's not that bad, actually. One of the fun things about watching after the fact videos on Twitch is that the ad breaks, yeah, they're unskippable, but they're fixed. Not like on YouTube, where the advertising system here is a little bit of an unregulated mess. You might actually get someone else's YouTube videos as a skippable ad. Anybody who's ever had their viewing experience hijacked until they hit the skip button by someone else's YouTube video going through the ad circuit will know exactly what I'm talking about with this thing. So you got that going on, whereas on Twitch, like 15 second, 30 seconds. It's like on TV or on radio. Way more controlled. The only thing that might happen is you might get a whole bunch of ads because you tune in while someone's running an ad break. So this is one of the reasons why I'm as frustrated as I am with Twitch, because Twitch has the potential to be a pretty decent competitor in this space, but they're not making the investments to do that. They need to understand that Twitch has a very strong brand among young people, gamers, gamer culture, people with goofball lighting setups like this. Twitch as a brand has a lot of strong brand loyalty. And that's the reason why you've got people who associate Twitch with live streaming. Almost master brand status. So to see them leaving DMCA on the table like this, but bragging about better ways to delete your clips and VODs, it's ridiculous. The same thing too with the lack of emphasis on after the fact. But we're a live streaming platform. This is what we do. Yes, and guess what your competitors do as they gain market share on a very consistent basis? Live and after the fact. YouTube, Facebook. Enough. So, I got Twitch affiliate, and quite frankly, I'm not going to go too crazy with it. I don't know if we'll even hit the $100 threshold. How much streaming to 2 people would I have to do before that happens? So, it's one of those things where I can compare YouTube versus Twitch. I can also upload videos on Twitch now, deliberately upload them to see how test the waters, see if Twitch ever got any better with uploading videos. But the big thing is, I've gotten as far as I want to get on Twitch. Not interested in being a partner. It would have to be a very, very liberal contract in order for me to even think of being a Twitch partner. Plus, I'm not going to go crazy about concurrence. I did enough of that just for affiliates. And I've become a bit more familiar with the whole concurrent viewers thing, even on YouTube. When I've run into YouTubers who are OGs from the 2000s like me, and they have way more subscribers than I've ever had, and they're getting 2 concurrents or whatever when they live stream. So the whole thing with viewers versus concurrence, it's still a thing. You know, it's still a thing where you cannot just do an apples to apples comparison of views and concurrence. Everything is different. So concurrence will be lower, sometimes much lower, because whereas the value of something on YouTube is from people just watching it whenever they get to it, seeing you live, and that's one of the reasons too why focusing too much on live stuff is such a problem. Because when you're talking about advertising and brands wanting to advertise, when you talk about that with advertising and stuff along those lines, with advertisers and stuff like that, I'm going in a loop here, I'm a little tired. It's not just the live experience that matters. You can run ads on after the fact stuff. I can have an audience in a different time zone that can't watch live because their life, you know, their schedules, sleeping, blah, 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 gets in the way, but they watch after the fact, which is one of the reasons why I focus on show flow so much with streams. Because I want something that's worth watching if you're a VOD frog, as they say over on Twitch. If you're the kind of person that watches streams after the fact, I want to make it worth it for you. Regardless, though, my first affiliate stream will probably involve VIPing, if he's not already, DJ Zana for helping out with the raid that finally tilted the balance above 3. But I really don't care about concurrence or anything of that sort. I do have a sub button, and that's the other. But the main thing, the reason why I wanted to get a sub button on Twitch is actually something I'm going to make a video about at some point. One of the many multimedia meta videos I have to make, as well as, you know, do some tech tinkering and some around the house tinkering and stuff like that, if I can ever carve out the time for that stuff. But one of the reasons why I wanted Twitch affiliate is to unlock the ability to support what I do with Twitch Prime, even if you're not into Twitch. So if you have Amazon Prime service, you can link Amazon Prime to a Twitch account and sub to somebody. You have to keep subbing over and over again, but it's the equivalent of a $5 a month sub over on Twitch. So what you can do is, I know there's people over here on YouTube that are not into Twitch at all. They hate Twitch. They don't do anything on Twitch. They don't care about Twitch. Just make some blah Twitch account, link it up to Amazon Prime. And I'm always looking for ways, those people that want to support what I do, tech or otherwise, I'm always looking for ways that people can support for free. The easiest way is to let the ads run. Don't use an ad blocker. Another thing you can do, now that I have affiliate status over on Twitch, is link everything up, Twitch Prime. You don't watch Twitch anyway, so, but it's the equivalent. Yeah, Twitch takes 50%, so it's really a $2.50 tip, but it's a $2.50 tip for free. just by linking accounts and pushing a button when it comes up. And you're not into Twitch anyways, so what does it matter? What does it matter? Let's see how that works out. I'll make a video about that some point later on. So, but as far as Twitch affiliate goes, because of Twitch's current deficiencies as a platform, it's going to be retro, Nintendo, MMO, stuff that ends in O. That's the kind of games I'm going to stream on Twitch. And I really don't care if the channel goes anywhere or not, because I know that Twitch is a heavily restricted platform. It's not even the best one to be on right now. The best one to be on right now is YouTube. So, and then have social medias going on other stuff, like for pictures, have picture social media and update social media. And this is, of course, a form of video social media over here as well. But yeah, I got Twitch affiliate, but I'm not going to go too crazy with it. It just means that I'm going to just continue to try and serve the felt needs of the Twitch community, so to speak. So games that are not as well represented, progress in my MMOs. My main game is Elder Scrolls Online, but I haven't even touched World of Warcraft Shadowlands yet. But the big thing is I'm going to focus heavily on games that will not cause issues with DMCA, because as we've seen with Cyberpunk 2077, there was a bit of a mistake in the remove copyrighted music thing that's in the game. And you know what? At this point, Twitch needs to step up to the plate or their platform's going to be gimped. Plain and simple. Twitch needs to step up to the plate or the platform's gimped. Too much of an emphasis on live, no system for DMCA like Content ID, and no interest in doing what's right for the user base. Or improving the user base conditioning so people know that they can go to Twitch for something other than streaming if they don't have anybody live they want to watch right now. So I'd love to see Twitch more as this gaming hub and this gamer culture hub and this, youth culture hub, so to speak, because that's their demographics. Whether or not Twitch ever actually wants to do that is on them. So, yeah, Twitch affiliate, nothing I'm going to be too excited about, and it's as far as I want to go on Twitch. It's until Twitch decides to get their house in order, my Twitch involvement is 100% secondary to YouTube. There's going to be less of an emphasis on Twitch now that I've got an affiliate, because basically I'm where I want to be on the platform. I really don't care about anything else and whether it goes anywhere. Now we can get back to more of a round robin bouncing between the various types of content, not just streaming over here on YouTube, by the way, as well. One of the things I'm thinking about for 2021, take the wacky world of MultimediaJay, bring back the television feeling part of it, like 2015. Think 2015. Because one of the things that I think you need to do in today's world of online media, as part of the multimedia meta, is very sharply differentiate what it is that you do. So, yes, YouTube videos before live streaming took off were going in a direction that basically turned them into streams without being live. So less of an emphasis on putting on a show, maybe credits or intros, things along those lines. And one of the things I did was I got rid of the intros that I had. But I like to bring that back, especially the ones with the heavy metal music and stuff. So that's something I actually want to bring back. Because streaming can be more informal and just start the stream and talk about stuff. But if I want to make something with some evergreen value to it, let me actually bring up my own YouTube studio. If I want to make something with some evergreen value to it, I think it's really all about... So I want to see the watch time. What gets the views and what gets the watch time? Doing very well, by the way, for the month of December. So got some super chats, brought over a video from Daily Motion. Let's go to some analytics. I don't even need to see money on this one. Bookmarks. Let me actually go to... Yeah, there we go. Analytics, give me the ad blocker ratios, and let's modify things a bit. I want to do last 365 days. Let's do last 365 days, get rid of all the money stats. Just give me views and watch time. So we'll do views and watch time. What are people... Let's not even bother with views. Let's use YouTube's main metric and sort by what is getting the watch time over a 365-day period. So, which means unique viewers is not going to work. All right, let's actually take a look at this and lament that YouTube Studio still does not have a dark mode, unlike regular YouTube. So, MultimediaJay. So let's take a look at the tech videos. What's been getting the views? We know we have some runaway successes that are about appliances, but let's scroll down past that. What is getting the most watch time? This is watch hours over a 365-day period over the last year, since roughly this time in 2019. HD reality check. This is an old vlog type video that I did talking about those magic 2 words, good enough. I'm looking for the wacky world of MultimediaJay, though. What's topping the list? Sloppy speaker shutout 2016. Cheap rubber dome keyboard. This actually has a title card 2017. Now, the big reason why I am concerned about these title cards, I think the text takes up too much space. So you can't see, yeah, it's the title and everything, but you can't actually see what's involved. And plus, it's biased towards US English. So people that maybe are ESL, English is a second language, maybe they have issues where they just don't want to see text. They want to see what the video is about. But here you go. Thinking of converting my Z5500 into a powered sub just has what's in the video as the thumbnail. Not even any attempt at any special art or anything. And here's the thing. What I find it interesting that this tech video is doing as well as it is recently, specifically because the mouse over previews that exist on YouTube nowadays are basically they are a technological deterrent to wild and crazy thumbnails. Because if you have a ridiculous thumbnail, neon colors and graphics and things along those lines, if you have something like that going on, all somebody needs to do to see past it is just mouse over it. Midnaughts, a Core 2 quad in 2020 is high up the list. So 2018, what about 32-bit Android x86? The Android x86 experiment is something. Is this still sorting by watch time? Midnaughts, there we go. 2018, rubbish. Android x86. That was a very popular topic. So topic-wise, that has an edge. But I'm looking for random stuff. First impressions: the Mana Potion Humidifier, 2016. Silver Bullet is history, 2020. That's from this year. First impressions: DK Oldies, 2014. Showing stuff in the thumbnail. Dell Optiplex 760, another Dellosaurus, 2015. So the other Dellosaurus video. Just a picture of the computer, Dellosaurus Rex, the Genesis. So there's videos from this year that people have liked. Dellosaurus Saga continues, 2013. But one of the things you see is that the Return of Tuxedo, that's from this year. When you don't look at the stuff that's from this year, there is a substantial amount of watch hours going into videos from like 2015, 2016. Now, the simplified video format that I rolled out to get away from an opening title was after 2016. And the reason being is because in 2017, that's the direction that YouTube was going in. I'm looking at some other stuff. The Ashton's Pastiches did pretty well. Let's Hack Jobs, some Logitech X140s. That doesn't have a title card. So anything that's not from this year, you see a lot of 2016, 2017. Because, if you want to make something that's binge watchable, why not make it look like something that you could actually have on DVD or something? Make something with some production value to it, as opposed to web videos, which is basically what YouTube settled into as people figured out the meta, so to speak. But what I think today, the issue is that the more informal, just talk type stuff and simpler stuff is better done through a stream these days, as opposed to, you want to tell a story, you want to make something with some production value that people will want to binge watch. It's probably time to turn back the clock and do things a little bit more like a television show. So the reasons why YouTubers would have wanted to move away from making videos that look like TV shows, the big TV intros and stuff, that was from a couple of years ago, before streaming became what it is. For less formal stuff, streaming can do that stuff. But if you want to put some effort into something, make it look nice, make it look like a good show, put on a good show for your audience, I think it's time that I revert back to some kind of intro. And I think the best intro to go with is the shortest intro I ever got to work, which is the intro with Ethan Meixel music. And if you're wondering what that is, Ethan, Meixel, March On. This will sound very familiar to some of you people. Ready? Oh, we got an ad. As soon as we can load it up here. This is me supporting this audio library channel that's monetizing. Ready? Watch the levels. Actually, bring the YouTube level down to 50% because this is going to be loud. The wacky world of MultimediaJay. That'll sound familiar to some people. Yeah. So I could try and find something that works better, but for a montage opener like that, that was the quickest one that I ever did. So we'll start with that for 2021. I'm sure some people will really appreciate that and probably rock out to it as well. So that's another big thing that I want to do for 2021. Take the wacky world of MultimediaJay back to resembling a TV show more often, because basically I'm telling a story with that. The story of tinkering around the house, geek house projects, technology, the computers, what have you. For the multimedia meta, discussion videos, similar to vlogs, and streams for off-the-cuff stuff like this. Let's do that. But the bottom line with all of this is making sure that everything that I work on has some kind of coolness to it. And an easy way to tell when you're watching this, that, or the other. It's kind of like in, say, an RPG like Dungeons and Dragons. Wimpy little guy with a stick that's throwing fireballs at you is probably a mage. Big dude in armor coming at you with a giant sword might be a fighter. If you see a divine spell because they heal himself, it's a paladin. But it's just like, it's just things need to be recognizable and appreciable, I should say, on their own merits with what it is that they do. And so blending things too much together, I think YouTube went too much in the direction of streams. So here's the thing. You always have to differentiate between live stuff and evergreen stuff, because live stuff is going to have a quality limit because you're doing things live like this. If you want to craft something, though, you got to make something, put on a show, make sure it's something good. So before streaming became what it is, YouTube videos that were like daily vloggers and stuff like that, they were going in this direction of simpler videos, because if you're just making a video about every single day of your life or whatever, do you really need a big elaborate intro every single time when people are binge watching the playlist? So what I'd like to do is kind of make it similar to a television show for the binge watchers' benefit. Just like Wacky World of MultimediaJay Seasons 1 and 2. To an extent, 3 with celebrating 10 years, but that intro was too long. And a lot of it had to do with the structure of the song itself. Ethan Meixel with the March On theme made something that rocks, and at the same time, it's very easy to go through 2 measures and have it be a very fast song. In order for me to supersede that, I need to find something that's similar to where, like a 15-second, a 17-second, 19-second intro, very quick, that can actually work. So, at the same time, I remember the Delosaurus videos of 2015 or so. How they started out looking like a reality show, and then they went to an intro. Got to find a way to make that work. And making all of this work, by the way, will be perfect for behind-the-scenes streams. Stuff like this. Just got to figure out what to do with all this commentary that has invaded these streams and made them look more like the radio-style series. All right, about 42 minutes in, let's talk about this whole situation with the 9-to-5ers. So I got Twitch affiliate and I vanished. That was not intentional. We got pounded with orders. Then there was a snowstorm. We got pounded even more. But what's at the core of all of this is this crybaby, boo-hoo-hoo, nobody wants to work for us thing. This thing where we can't staff up when we know we're going to get hit with more volume. People either don't care about the job, they quit, or they don't get anywhere in terms of showing a work ethic or any kind of seriousness about the job. Why am I fidgeting with this Xbox controller? I don't know. So the issue is demographics. The two managers that run the place are Gen X, been with the company for years, and they're pretty much stuck in the past. Whoa, we're not back at the project area just yet. Yeah, I think it went over like this. Ooh, yeah, see the project area. Remember that? Don't show the old people pills. Whatever. Oh, it's falling off. Yeah, I should probably get a proper mount for this camera. Streamer problems, baby. So, the 9-to-5ers have a bit of a problem with demographics. It's just the two managers, they're Gen X, and the way this place runs caters to the workforce of years gone by. Maybe when I first went there in the 2000s, they could have a workforce of a bunch of Gen Xers. Maybe when I first went there in the 2000s, they had a workforce of Gen X folks who were like, oh, whatever, you know, the whole 90s attitude thing. They just want a job. They didn't care if they were cutting boxes all day or picking orders all day or driving a forklift all day. But there was a situation during the week where after the snowstorm, we had so many call-outs that the less than case area had pretty much one person and two non-course. So I went over there, and the supervisor actually needed someone to stock. Now, let me tell you the difference between selection and stocking in the less than case area. To use terms that are not so jargonish, so people kind of have a clue what I'm talking about. If you place an order for stuff and it's less than a case quantity, it'll come out of this area. That way the individual units can be picked. You're not sending too much stuff. You send the exact quantity ordered and not too much. Selection is a pick-to-light system. If you know anything about warehouses, you probably know these things. They're basically industrial light bright. Blink, 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 and little things that tell you how many to get. 2 of these, 3 of these, 4 of these, push the button. Da, 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 da. Dull as dirt. It sounds techie, but it'll make your brain fall out. It's like trying to amuse yourself with a scientific calculator for 8 hours. It sounds nerdy and techie, and there are blinky lights, but it's stupid stuff. Really stupid. And there's people that can't even get that down. Or they don't want to, I should say. I think unless you're actually unable to move you should be able to know how to use this. I just think the people that don't do well, that just don't have a good work ethic in the first place. How do you mess this stuff up? It's so stupid. Stocking, on the other hand, you actually have to think about what you're doing, and if you identify a way to save time, then you get better at that sort of thing. It's not just, walk to this place, get 2 of those, and push the button. You actually can think about what you're doing. So I thought I'd have a blast. I'm getting back into some stocking for the first time since, leaving that part of the building. I thought I'd be having a ball. This is something I actually have to think about, as opposed to 2 of those, 3 of those, 4 of those. What happened was, by midnight, I might as well have been, I was so zonked out by midnight. And I'm over here like, this was, I'm visiting, I'm not in their department, so it doesn't matter if I make the production goal or not, even though I probably did, if you factor out all the downtime. Because I do a lot of stuff with these warehouse jobs with muscle memory. So even if I'm away from it, as long as I have just a few rusty things, get right back into it just like that. That's the power of muscle memory in a highly engineered facility like what we have at this warehouse. We had our own in-house engineers for over a decade, and I've known most of them and worked with most of them over the years. So roughly over the last 10 years, or 15 years now. The first industrial engineer I worked with in this place was circa mid-2000s before he retired. And then he had a couple of successors and multiple engineers putting measuring tape to every corner of the building to make it more efficient. So I have a huge background in numbers as a result of getting to work with these folks over the years. So I know that it's good to basically be a human robot and find the best way of doing something and then get it down to being like a drill, so to speak. So you know the drill, you know what to do. Not an issue whatsoever. And here I am bored. It's something I should have had a ball with. Well, I thought about it afterwards. But the machine I deal with the shipping folks, the palletizing machine that stacks containers and whatnot, I'm doing about 5 or 6 different things, having to think about what I'm doing, having to prioritize things, and actually having to think about what it is that I'm doing and what am I going to do when, and can I help folks out elsewhere if things are slow. It's something where I'm constantly coming up with plans and executing on the plan. Both of these positions, whether you're selecting or stocking, if you do just one thing all night, it is going to get monotonous and boring. And this is where these people have their problems. Because where's the turnover? Where's the absenteeism? Which department was almost non-existent after the snowstorm? Less than case. And this problem has been going on for many years. I have people that I talk to professionally on networks like LinkedIn who've been gone from the company for over a decade that say, oh, that part of the building still has problems. They never could get that right when I was there either. So, the second you've done anything in that entry-level warehouse part of the building, you basically have to constantly bail them out whenever they're getting slammed. So you keep having to go back to your old job. There's really no way of moving on from it. So you got to ask yourself, why do these people have the problems they have? Why is it that they persistently, on the dumbest work in the building, can't handle their own stuff? Why are there people bored in one part of the building while these folks are getting slammed and nobody can help them? I may be a maverick for thinking this, but I think the department should be dissolved. And the tasks of selection and stocking, which are basically rudimentary inbound and outbound stuff in a warehouse to begin with, should be baseline to the entire building. You don't work in this building unless you know both of those. You know, you may come in as somebody who drives a forklift all day, but in case you get kicked off the trucks, you need to know how to do those two roles. So that way, if somebody is in a machine accident or something and they get their license pulled, they go there. Or we have a situation where people in other parts of the building are waiting for these people to finish. And it's not just the people that have been there formerly that are told to go back. So it's not like you're being punished for having ever been there in the first place. But I would even go even further and say those two positions, those two jobs are the most monotonous in the building. Now, there's going to be people who are going to like that sort of thing. But I think the people that actually like that sort of dumb job, same thing every day, are going to become more and more of an exception rather than the rule. Why? Creak. The smartphone generation. You have folks that are coming of age that are used to doing all kinds of things at once, having a bunch of things popping up on their phones, or doing like what I'm looking right now. I'm looking at YouTube updates, the antivirus. I'm looking at stuff that's popping into my news feed while I'm talking to you at the same time. So, One Piece got something on Pluto TV. Is there any more anime over there? Da-da-da-da. There's AI going on. The Connecticut governor has revised some of the issues related to COVID-19. Blah, 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 blah. Something's going on at the Pentagon. The snowstorm is still getting covered in the news. The Patriots will be playing the Dolphins this Sunday. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. So, you have Gen Z, and you have the smartphone generation, people growing up with these things. They've been pretty much something like this has been in their life ever since they were kids. Now they're being told to leave the phones in their lockers in order to work at this place. Some of it is, keeping people on task. The rest of it is, if you're on a 20,000-pound turret truck, I don't want you on your phone when you're on the heaviest piece of machinery in the whole darn building. That's a massive safety hazard. And not just a safety hazard in terms of distracted driving if people are on forklifts, but also if you got your phone in your pocket and you accidentally bump into something like some racking or something, you could crack your screen or something like that. But I made sure to tell the supervisor in charge of this area, and I think it just bounced off his head, because whatever. He's very Gen X. But if I'm helping these people out, they'll get better results if they rotate me between both sides of the lines. Select a little, stock a little, because quite frankly, I do not do one thing all day anymore, and I'm not going to play dumb in order to actually appreciate that. There are some people in this part of the building that think they're superstars at the jobs, doing one thing every single day, and I think those people are unique. I don't think there's going to be a lot of people that are like that anymore. And quite frankly, the dull nature of doing the same thing over and over again for 8 to 10 hours is going to run people out the door. So where have we had the turnover? The dumber the job, the more turnover we had whenever the volume goes up. So a lot of the building's success is because of a group of 20-year veterans that have been doing those dumb jobs for 20, 30 years. They're all Gen X, varying levels of older, younger Gen X. They're all over 40. I'll bet if HR took a look at what the average age of the workforce is, that number is creeping up. Because you think about, for example, this less than case dumb part of the building. There's some people that did well there and they moved on from there. What are they? My age and younger for the most part. So there's this thing where people don't stick around in that part of the building. So we can't keep it staffed anyways. So in my case, left for a job that has more going on. Another lady over there went to inventory control, where there's more going on. You're not doing the same monotonous thing all day. And how many other people have bid out of there? How many other people have bid out? So we keep having problems not having enough people in that part of the building. The work still needs to get done. What do you do to make people want to stay around a little more instead of the random people every once in a blue moon who don't mind dumb, boring, monotonous jobs, when more and more people are bidding out or quitting, not even staying with the company? So you keep having the turnover, you keep having to start over from scratch, blah, 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 blah. The position is described by both selection and stocking. They should do both, train on both. But the Gen Xers are like, well, if they can't even figure out how to use the picking system, why do we want to train to restock? It is your responsibility with what you oversee to not have a situation where one part of the job is substantially harder than the other. So it needs to be a situation where you can be either or. And I don't think we're going to keep people there unless there's more of a mix. It's just the way people are going. Smartphone generation, sights and sounds, multiple things going on at once, and even the idea of a job is questionable nowadays. When you can drive for Uber, stream on Twitch, make videos on YouTube, work flex work. There are flex, not just gig jobs either, but there's flex work out there if you have skills with stuff, things like Fiverr and things like that. And let's also not forget, some of the biggest streamers on Twitch are younger millennials. Not even the youngest generation active on social media represents some of the biggest names on the platform. Take me to let me just bring up Sully Gnome and Avast Secure here. Load. Let me see the most viewed Twitch streamers. The most watched Twitch channels, some names I recognize. XQC, younger millennial. Calls. Can we do US English? Can we limit it by US English? Saikuno, these people, Asmongold, Oren Play, Mizkif, I believe is late 20s, early 30s. Soda Poppin', Shroud, Nick Merckx, Co Carnage. These are some of the biggest streamers on Twitch with some of the highest watch time. Tim the Tatman, etc. You're gonna see a lot of younger millennials dominating the living daylights out of Twitch. Late 20s to early 30s. Not even the youngest people on Twitch, Gen Z. The oldest Gen Zs were born in 1997, which means they turned 23 this year. Maybe that'll change, as more of the Gen Zs graduate college and stuff. But graduate college, 18 plus 4, means you're 22 when you get out. with a 4-year degree. So these people that are 23, 22, etc., they're out of college, they can get into this stuff. Now, they get into it at a younger age than I did with YouTube and stuff like that. But it wasn't that long after getting out of college. So it's interesting that maybe we'll see things change in a couple of years, but I don't think it's a coincidence that the younger millennials do as well as they do. Because if you graduated high school and there were no jobs, you went to college and then there were no jobs, maybe you went to grad school and there were no jobs as a younger millennial. So you never really had the chance to develop a work history or have regular jobs, so you're used to trying to earn money in other ways. And so you end up gigging, you end up doing this, you end up doing that. You end up in a situation where traditional jobs and traditional careers are not interesting to you. They're just not, because you haven't been raised that way. If you're a Gen Z and your childhood was damaged by the Great Recession, you saw your Gen X parents you saw mom and dad get laid off, then have to take jobs stocking shelves at Target for $9 an hour or something, and that didn't pay the bills, blah, blah, blah. You saw the garbage of the Great Recession. You saw traditional jobs break, not work for people. So this bias against traditional jobs and careers, I'm not surprised it exists. And quite frankly, technology has made it so that you can do all kinds of other things. Now, I had some car trouble earlier this week. And as part of that, I was introduced to Uber, tried a few Ubers, took a few rides with a couple local Uber drivers. And they all had really nice cars. Made me wonder if maybe some people are driving for Uber to try and blunt the car payment. They got a low mileage car doing some local Uber runs. So, why not try to blunt the car payment in your spare time or whatever by driving Uber around here? I don't think these gigs really work in the long run, because what happens is people think, I get to be my own boss. But the thing is, you're beholden to terms of service, just like on something like YouTube or Twitch. And at the same time, if there was a market for stuff like what Uber and Lyft and these other companies do, then somebody would have moved into the industry. So I think some of these gig folks, they find out the hard way why there aren't established businesses. Like, does the money really add up for driving Uber? Especially when, if you know the most basic things about truck driving, for example, there's things like backhauls, where you don't want trucks rolling around on the roads without carrying stuff, because that's what they're built for, and that's what you're spending all the money for. Depreciation, fuel, maintenance, blah, 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 blah. So if you're a trucking company, you're sending a truck from point A to point B. You're going to see if you can find something going from somewhere around point B back to point A. That's a backhaul. That exists in transportation. Does that exist with Uber? Where your first fare takes you from point A to point B, then what? You hope your next fare doesn't require you to backtrack without having anyone in the car. So, really basic thing in trucking. May not be a thing with Uber. That's the thing. That's the thing that I scratch my head with some of this ride-sharing stuff. Maybe it's better off in the big city and things like that. If the local taxi companies aren't trying to ban Uber through some kind of legislation that makes it impossible to run a service like that. But that's the thing. Some of these gigs, I just don't understand it. I don't see how the money adds up. Yeah, something to do in your free time. Yeah, well, also don't forget, you got to put yourself at risk and your car at risk in order to do Uber versus make YouTube videos that turn into a passive income with the ad revenue. Find something good to make content about and do it. Side hustles, this is still my preferred side hustle. I don't want to be any kind of Uber driver anytime soon. I can't imagine myself doing that. But one of the things I saw this week was people with nicer cars, maybe they blunt the car payment doing that. That is searching for some alternative means of making money without resorting to traditional jobs and careers. And quite frankly, if we refine a few things, if we reform a few things with how our country works, with healthcare and things like that, to where maybe it's not as interesting to take a job with a large company for the benefits anymore, maybe we will see more people trying to strike it out on their own. But what we'll see there is situations where traditional jobs and careers are less popular. Now, I got to see if it's still out there. The coming generation gap. Did I ever send that over to YouTube? Or did I just delete? Did I wipe stuff off of my Twitch channel without actually... Yeah, let me just go to my YouTube studio. I think I might have the discussion I had earlier. Generation gap. Or I might have deleted it. If that's the case, we gotta learn... So, wait, what's this? Nope, it's just a highlight. Nah, okay. Dunkin' Donuts becoming a generation gap in New England. All right, let me just fire up Twitch. Make sure it's... See if I still have it. I don't think I do. If that's the case, though, I think it'd be better off as a YouTube video. But I do have the slides from it. Just gotta dig them up. Look at that huge UI. Oh, Vendalia's live. Nice. What's this creator update? Oh, panels available in here. Stream. Blah, blah. So, let me just go to my... Logan, thanks for the Twitch Prime. See, that's how it's done. Free support for your favorite streamers. That's why he's a VIP. So we will probably pop the sub alert when we get back to Twitch, because I'm not... I may have to turn that on with this fancy new setup. Now, let me just go back to Twitch and let me load up my video producer. I don't think I still have it. I think I wiped that out with a giant channel cleanup. Self-promotion, Multimedia Nerds, first impressions of Tier 4 Bang Bang, Ven, blah, 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 blah. Let's see. Generation does not give any results. Yeah, it's... We'll find the slides from it. We'll go over the talking points again. So, when it comes to all of this... I don't have it loaded on here. So when I load Twitch, he'll probably show up as a sub alert. And we'll just do that stuff there. We'll save it for Twitch, actually. So when it comes to this kind of stuff, with the 9-to-5ers, it's a different world than it was when Gen X was the majority of our workforce. So my prediction is if these folks don't get it together, the average age of the workforce starts to rise. The only people they can get to stick around are folks that are over 40. Now ask yourself this question. If you're running a warehouse, physical work like this, do you really want a workforce? What kind of results do you think you're going to get with a workforce over 40 of people picking furniture and stuff like that? You're going to struggle with anybody who's younger than 40, and the only people that are going to be successful for long periods of time are people from that generation who don't mind dumb jobs. So the average age of the people you're depending on to do physical work in the warehouse gets higher and higher, and potential blown shoulders, injuries, things like that. Now, there's people in their 50s doing this stuff at this place. And I have seen warehouses with very, very geriatric workforces. Folks in their 50s and 60s doing this stuff. So it is possible. Age discrimination does not have to be a thing with these kinds of jobs. Get somebody with a good work ethic, they're going to have a good work ethic. It's that simple. But when it comes to this kind of stuff, do you really want a situation where you can't get anybody younger than 40 to work for you? There's so many of these people with all this energy, these people. And by the way, let's suppose you're successful with a workforce of all 40 plus. They stick around less because they retire sooner. And you have a situation where they retire and you have more turnover just because the workforce was older to begin with. So do you really want to leave on the table the ability of these people in their 20s and whatnot to have steady jobs because your jobs are too stupid and too dumb and too monotonous to get them to stick around? I think every part of the building needs to take a very close look at how these folks can finally pull their heads out of the 90s and be able to employ the smartphone generation without driving them away with monotonous work. Because the people that don't mind it are going to become fewer and further between. So for the less than case area, I think people need to do both selection, stocking, training at the same time, bounce between them. Break up the day so you're not doing the same thing over and over again and getting burnt out. For the areas where people are driving fork trucks, train them on at least 2 trucks to start, not 1. So maybe a truck that goes in the air and a pallet jack or something like that. And bouncing between going in the air and maybe driving a few pallets around and shipping or something. That's the thing. I think the defined departments may not be the best thing for the building anymore. I think they need to blend them together a little more. So Might even be not worth it to even have departments. Just have Chronos codes or something like that for changing different work functions and pay more for higher paying functions, things like that. Which we already have, by the way. Just do it through paper, digitize it, things like that. So if I go train somebody, I'm entitled to training pay for the amount of time I'm training. Why does training have to be the only version of that? So shipping, receiving, make them, shipping, receiving, you'll have multiple types of fork trucks, but don't start them with just a jack. Give them a jack and a stand-up rider. Teach everybody that, so you don't have a shortage of people who can drive that. How about jack, stand-up rider, clamp truck, aka the squeeze, as we call it. Squeezy. Jack, stand-up rider, clamp truck. So you have a group of trucks that you want to be trained on, get experience on, and if you are on a dock, you know all three of them. So, but that's going to scare people. Look, if people don't want to take the initiative, do I want them on my team? Because they're never going to be interested in cross-training. They're going to complain about everything. They're going to drag the team down and hurt the building's performance. I mean, you got to have some expectations here. And this whole thing with behavior, might as well not forget this while we're at it. So we had the call-outs during the snowstorm. The initial plan for the extra shift Friday night, tonight technically for me, the initial plan was to actually go as far as we could. And I was like, that's not a good idea, because that will rubber stamp the absenteeism from right after the snowstorm. I would have run the building for 7 hours tops. So that way, Connecticut overtime is based on hours worked. If you blew us off during the snowstorm, you lose your time and a half. That's the normal setup, by the way, with 8-hour shifts that turn into 10 hours with OT. Because with a 10-hour cap, 5-day work week, you miss a day, you call off a day, you have 4 days, 2, 4, 6, 8. The most you can do is get yourself back to 40 hours. But if you're working 10-hour days, you don't get time and a half because you don't hit 40 hours. So the situation, the unique situation that we ran into with this Christmas thing and wanting to try not to work Christmas Eve as night shift, the unique situation we had here was that, and also wouldn't look fair to day shift, who basically, do they even have? I think they were out before the storm, and they were in maybe during it. They had worse conditions than we did. But that's a different issue. So with what happened tonight specifically, there was a situation where somebody who called off during the snowstorm, or right after the snowstorm, we shut the building down as the snowstorm got started. Our next shift was right as it was winding down, just about when it was over. So if you called off during the snowstorm and we did an 8-hour shift as an extra shift, you'd get your overtime back if you hit 40 hours, which is why I was thumbs up when I found out we were having a short night. So that way we don't rubber stamp people blowing us off when there's snow on the ground. So kind of a management type thing, something I think about, something they should have thought about a little sooner. The original plan was to go as far as we could because we don't want to work Christmas Eve, but we don't want to rubber stamp people. We don't want to rubber stamp absenteeism at the same time. So you don't want a situation where someone blows their time and a half for the week because they call off, but they have a way of getting it back. If we want to encourage better behaviors, I think the better thing to do is to have more rewards besides, we're ordering pizza for people that come in during the snowstorm. So we had pizza the night we did that. Stupid. I don't like food rewards. It's just dumb. At the same time, though, I'm fat enough as it is. Throw me a bone here. So, the night when we had the snow shift, what I think we should have done is, number one, waive the attendance infractions for tardies. So if people wanted to not sacrifice their sleep schedule to be able to dig out their car and come to work as the snow was winding down, they could do that, and zero penalty. At the very same time, and it should have been publicly announced that if you have to dig out, but we'd rather have you here some part of the day than stay home because, we don't want to have a skeleton crew. We still have to do stuff. So maybe it might not be here as on time as you normally are, but we will waive the attendance points for tardies. Another thing I would have done for the skeleton crew that showed up during the snowstorm is offer the ability to NPNP, no point, no pay, on the extra shift. So that way, we had a small fraction of the building that was there during the snow shift, screwed for 10 hours. So we had no chance of getting any decent amount anywhere. We made progress, but not enough to not need the extra night. So the people that were in during the snowstorm, I would have given them the opportunity, take the extra shift off. No consequence. Use time if you want to get paid for it. No consequence. You put in your time. Good job. And let the people that called off come in for a shorter shift. That would have been shrewd as all heck. Gen X guy didn't think of it, though. That's what I would have done. I would have made sure that the people who called off during the snowstorm, they lost their time and a half, because that's what would happen even if there wasn't a snowstorm. It's just unique to the setup of this place with 8 to 10 hour shifts. So I've done that, but I also think we could do a better job. I think the 9-to-5ers could do a better job of rewarding people for getting in during inclement weather and being more public about them doing that. So that way people don't wake up, I'm going to spend hours digging out the car. It's going to take me forever to go up the highway at only 30 miles an hour. But if you get there, bada bing, you make some money. You don't lose your day's pay or have to blow sick time or whatever, specifically because of the snowstorm. Things that happen in New England, by the way. In case some of you folks don't know that. Sarcasm. So, I think the situation with the snowstorm could have been handled a lot better. And at the same time, though, it's a symptom, not the problem. I think I need to hit the books on the generation gap between Gen X and Gen Z. Bring back the slides from my Twitch discussion, go over those points again, maybe make a video talking about those points. And really start to see just how these people need to pull their heads out of the 90s. Because I think it's the only way this warehouse sees any success again. We're a little spoiled right now because we have some Gen Xers who've been there 20, 30 years, but when they retire, then what? I don't think there's a plan. I don't think they'll be successful. Because they're just not... The demographics have changed, but they have not. And that fundamentally is why these problems... Yeah, it's cool when things aren't as busy. And it's like a flex job. I can go home early on a very regular basis, work on YouTube videos, do more streaming. That sort of thing. But right now, it's pretty much a given. These people cannot handle a peak season. Situations like what happened this week, where I basically vanished for a week. And I stayed posting on Twitter at least. And I put the community post on my page saying that, and I put the community post on my page talking about how I wasn't going to be able to have any more fun until Saturday. Now here we are. That's going to become more and more of a thing because these people just can't handle any kind of increase in volume because they can't appeal to the very people who represent more and more of the talent market every single day with these dumb, monotonous jobs. I really think these people need to take a very close look at where the turnover is. And how I keep seeing over and over again, can't get forklift drivers, can't get people to pick orders for a living. Hey, easy money. Go to this place, grab 2 of those, push the button, put it in the container, send it down the belt. So easy, so basic, easy money. Don't have to deal with people. Except your coworkers. Don't have to deal with customers. Don't have to deal with, like, if you're at a restaurant or something and someone's always trying to get orders comped because they cry and complain about everything. Don't have to deal with that nonsense. Just do the job, get paid. Simple. Nice, easy money for it's just the job's monotonous. That's the thing. The world has changed. These folks haven't. And I don't know what it's going to take to get these people to pull their heads out of the grunge era into the 2020s where it belongs. And I think there's other businesses around here that have the same problem. Gen X managers who can only hire, for the most part, Gen Zs who are hooked on their smartphones. This generation gap is a generation gap that I want to learn more about. Speaking of wanting to do things, it is finally my pathetic excuse for a weekend. I have a day off on Saturday. Plenty of stuff to do, including get things back to normal with finishing shoveling the driveway and all kinds of other stuff. Get the laundry done. maybe do some game streaming on Twitch in the evening. But I pretty much have Saturday planned out. But you folks now know what happened to me and where I stand on various issues. Hope this has been good for an update, all hour and 20 minutes of it. Once again, with the short stream time, but everything is compressed and compact so people can listen to it like a radio show. Social media is youtube.com/MultimediaJay, twitter.com/MultimediaJay, twitch.tv/MultimediaJay, multimediajay.wordpress.com, and MultimediaJayTV on Instagram. I am going to sleep early tonight. It's been a long week. I am sleeping without an alarm and living it up for a day. Things are supposed to quiet down in the run up to Christmas. We shall see. I just want to apologize to the Twitch folks who saw me get Twitch affiliate and then vanish. That is not what I wanted to do. Till next time, this is Multimedia Jay signing off. Thanks for stopping by.